not have the privilege of not caring about star signs if you're with a woman that's born in August or September who's a Leo. Really, you think you are gonna go past this? I'm gonna help you. I'm doing a course for love letters on TikTok, just like a little bit. So go check it out. The first one is coming up now. Just saving you some time, okay? I'm sure she would love this. I'm sorry, but I don't know a single Leo woman who's like, you know what? I want less attention and less love. We're doing 31 love letter tutorials in the month of August because it's my birthday month, and I did this in February, 14 days for Valentine's Day, but now we're doing it for my birthday month. Let's get into it. We're gonna we're going to write like famous poets. I'm a poet, and I'm going to teach you how to write like the specific poets, because you might have someone you want to write for, and you might have a poet you like. Go check out my poetry booklet, but let's get into it. Okay. We're going to read the poem, and then I'm going to give you the idea. Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep, by Mary Elizabeth Fry. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I'm not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow, I am the diamond glints on snow, I am the sun on the ripened grain, I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circling flight, I am the soft starshine at night, I am... do not stand at my grave and cry, I'm not there. I did not die. Okay. If you would want to copy this, not copy, take inspiration from this, I would say, where would you haunt them? So love letters are all about the now and the present and the observing of them, but where would you haunt them? Where would you haunt them? Where would you see them? Where would you haunt? Look, I'll give you an example of Lorelai Gilmore from Gilmore Girls. So you have an idea. I would haunt her, and you obviously add words around that. In her coffee cup. I would sleep in the fridge she never uses. I would seek comfort in her anger that has a mission, like these kind of things. How would you create your day within their personality when you're dead and you would be haunting them? I think that's a really cute idea. Good. I hope you have fun writing that. Dating a woman that is born in August, you do not have the privilege of not writing love letters. It is mandatory. Okay, you've got a poet that's gonna help you out. We're first reading from a poet, and then we're going to tell you how to write like that poet. If she has a favorite poet, then stick around for the whole series, I guess, or comments the poet. Okay. I wish I wrote the way I thought, obsessively, incessantly, with maddening hunger. I'd write to the point of suffocation. I'd write myself into nervous breakdowns, manuscripts spiraling out like tentacles into abysmal nothing. And I'd write about you, a lot more than I should, by Benedict Smith. So this is the obsession love letter. You are gonna write all the things that are ridiculously unimportant about them, but that you love. Like, really, really unimportant. I don't mean, oh, they have a job. I mean, like, really unimportant. Like, do they not wear the same socks every day and nobody sees it because they have shoes on? Do they move their leg when they're stressed? Can they not sit still? Can they only sit still and have their legs crossed? Like, really specific, small, unimportant things that you would like about them. And write it as a love letter. And you can even name the love letter My Illogical Obsessions with the Very Logical Love I Have for You. Kind of something like that. I think that would be cute. Okay, let me know how it goes. You're welcome for saving your life. No, I'm joking, but yeah. Oh, I'm a poet. That's why I'm giving you these ideas. You love the rain, but you open your umbrella. You say you love the sun, but you find a shadow spot. You say you love wind, but you close your windows. This is why I'm afraid when you say you love me. It's a poem by William Shakespeare. I was so surprised. I was like, this is so good. And then I was like, yeah, well, it should be. I don't know why I'm always so surprised. But what we can take from that is writing a love letter. Good luck. Writing a love letter from the point of view of the things you're scared of, but quite objectively, and using a couple metaphors, maybe even real examples, but quite objectively, and no attack. It is feelings, which guys are not good at. I think guys should write love letters to girls. I'm not saying you should never write a love letter for a guy, but I don't know how many of the guys are like, I need a love letter. But anyways, it's like roses. It's a niche thing, I would say. Okay, not the point. It's the things that you're scared of and kind of leaning into it. It doesn't have to be like whiny or like femininely, whatever. It's like that poem. You don't get it you know it's a guy that's writing this. It's not overly like, it's just put together so well, but it's honest, and it is a glimpse into an actual emotion, which is really cool. So, happy writing. Let me know how it goes. If you have a poet you want me, or a specific poem you want me to tell you how to turn into a love letter inspired by that, let me know and I will do that. Love me or hate me, both are in my favor. If you love me, I'll be in your heart. And if you hate me, I'll be in your mind. This is a poem by William Shakespeare. We're turning into the love letter idea. I'm a poet. I'm obviously not William. What? You don't think we look alike? Cute picture of him. No, I'm joking. Okay, anyways. Which is I think this is a good example of the yin and the yang, the love and the hate. And I think writing a love letter where half of it is the things you love and half of the things you hate about them. Now, do not be aggressive. And if you are mad, this was not the love letter to write, okay? It's not like, you know all the things I hate. Don't do that. But if it's like funny things, like, oh, I hate that you leave the socks there, I hate that you leave this there, whatever. And again, I think this should be a guy writing to a girl, I'm sorry. Or if you're in a different, like, no, I stand by that. Anyways. Or if you're a guy and a guy, or a girl, that obviously that's different. But you have to know if someone's even open to receiving a love letter, because writing a love letter to someone who does not want to receive it is pointless. You can always write a love letter, but whether you should hand the love letter to someone deeply depends on if they would even be open to it. Anyways, also you should be together for the most part. I don't know if like someone you've gone on 2 dates with is the person to send a love letter to. That's not the point. If you want a video on all the people you should not send a love letter to, let me know in the comments. But writing the love and hate, the hate should be small, little cute things you can hate, and the love should be bigger things, and start with small, get bigger and bigger, but the hate should be relatively small. I do not want this to be like a written form of a rant, okay? Okay, have fun. If you have a poet you want me to take, or a specific poem you want me to take to turn into a love letter, let me know in the comments, and go check out my books and everything. And my podcast, and follow along here. Someone Will Ache for Your Soul, Wait for Them, by E. Russell. It's a poet. I'm going to turn this into a love letter by explaining how you fell in love with their soul. So this is a little bit more of a complex love letter, because you have to define soul for yourself, if you're religious, if you're not religious, depending on your religion. I think you have a concept of what the soul is, but to tangibly explain it is probably difficult. So you first have to, I guess, do a little bit of research on that, and then explain how you fell in love with their soul. If you have any poet or poem you want me to turn into a love letter idea, leave it in the comments. Or if you have mine you want, let me know. I also write love letters and poems, so you can also request that if you leave your situation in the comments. And follow along. I do one every single day in August. You are not hard to love, you just asked the wrong person, by Emma Grace is that poem. I don't know the poet, but I like the poem. So how do we turn this into a love letter? I think you are not hard to love is kind of the prompt of this love letter idea. And all the ways that they're not hard to love. And this is specifically a love letter for someone who does feel hard to love. Not like it's hard for you to love them, but they feel like they're hard to love, and explaining to them all the ways that they don't feel hard to love. I think this is a beautiful idea, because then they can look back on that all the time to read it over. Yeah, have fun. Let me know if you have a poet or a specific poem you want me to analyze and tell you how to write as a love letter. If you have any of my own poems you want me to do that with you for, let me know. Otherwise, follow along for more. We're doing one each day in August, and we always do some in February. It is a risk to love. What if it doesn't work out? But what if it does? By Peter McWilliams. How do we turn this into a love letter? Explaining the best case scenario. This is especially a love letter for pessimists, like not for a pessimist to write, but for a pessimist to receive, when they're like, oh, what if we don't work out? What if this? What if that? Write out the best possible case scenario for yourself. Write it as a love letter idea. And you could even have that as the beginning and like just quote the guy and be like, what if it does? And then go off into it. If you have any poet or poem you want me to turn into a love letter, let me know. If you want my own poems, let me know. I also write love letters and poems, so leave it in the comments, your situation, if you want that. I would make it public, but I would not name names. Well, I might stitch it, but whatever. Okay, you get it. It was intrinsic the way I fell for you, like an effortless intake of breath. By Joss Walker. How do we turn that into a love letter idea? How easy it is to fall in love with them, and list a couple things that are so easy for you to love about them. Brownie points if you can make it things that maybe other people wouldn't pick up on or have criticized them on and you really specifically like. But yeah, okay. Hope you have fun writing. Also, let me know if you have any poets or poems you want me to turn into love letters in the comments. I also write love letters, so if you want me to write it for you, leave it in the comments. I will make it public, but it will be yours. When I saw you, I fell in love, and you smiled because you knew William Shakespeare. How do we turn this into a love letter idea? Well, the first time you met them, and brownie points for all the specific details. Were they wearing jeans? Were they wearing this? Also weird specific details. What was the first sentence they said to you? What was the last sentence they said to you? What was their nervous tic that they had only on the first date? Did they mumble? Did they stumble? Did they fall? Like any of these specific things. If you can rewrite the whole thing again, that would be really, really cool. If you have pictures from it, tape the pictures as the tape the pictures like as a frame of the love letter. If you have pictures from the first date, even if it's just from your outfit, from the place, if you can go on Google Maps and just print out the place you went to. If you don't have any pictures from your first date, because you might have not taken pictures at a first date, you can just cut it out and have it be framed, because that's the place you met. Okay, I'm excited. This is a fun one. Okay, have fun. Let me know if you have a poet or a poem you want me to turn into a love letter. I also write love letters, so if you want me to write it for you, leave it in the comments. And yeah, follow along. I'm doing one every day in August. Drunk. I'm a poet. I don't know who that is from. I don't even know if it technically counts as a poem, but we're going to use that as for inspiration for our love letters of August, which is, are you drunk? No, I'm in love. So the crazy, weird, drunk behaviors that you do because you're in love with them, and write it out in a love letter. Okay, let me know if you do that. And if you have a poem or a poet you want me to turn into a love letter, let me know. Leave it in the comments, as well as your situation. If you want me to write a love letter, it will be public, but it will be yours. I like art, and by art I mean music, poetry, sex, paintings, the human body, literature, and all of this is art to me. This is not particularly, maybe this is a poem, I don't know, but it doesn't tell me who it's written by. We're gonna take this as inspiration. What is all of the things that are art about them, and why? Write that as a love letter. I'm a poet. Go check out my poetry book. If you have a poet you want or a poem you want me to turn into a love letter idea, let me know. I also write love letters, so leave it in the comments, your situation, and I can do all. She lives the poetry she cannot write, by Oscar Wilde. So how do we turn that into a love letter idea? the things about them that you cannot describe, and you're going to try your best, and you're going to not purposefully fail, but you're going to attempt. Like the way she walks. Sometimes you can name something by naming all the things it is not. Try that out. Let me know how it goes. If you have a poem or a poet you want me to write about, to turn into a love letter, let me know. I also have a poetry book out, and if you want me to write your love letter, you just have to write your situation in the comments, and I will stitch it and read you the love letter and give you like a second to screenshot it so you can print it and give it to the person. It will be public, but it will be free, so. The spell could be broken only by love. Love letter idea. I don't know who wrote this, but is the things that you immediately or quite quickly changed because they were there, not because they forced you, not because they were nagging you, but because you just genuinely wanted to be the best person for this person you fell in love with. It's like when people are so in love that they want to be a better person. What positive effect that they have on you without having to even tell you. That would be such a cute love letter to write. Have fun. If you have a poem or a poet you want me to turn into a love letter, leave it in the comments, as well as if you want me to write a love letter about your own situation, write your situation in the comments. I will stitch it. It will be public, but it will be free, and you'll have time to screenshot it and print it out and give it to the person. Have a lovely day. Imagine reading a book with no way to turn back the page. How carefully would you read it? That's life. How do we turn this into a love letter? Why you like the present moment with them. Either you have a very specific moment where you liked every second and I want you to get as detailed as possible, or why you just like the present moments with them, the moments you're present with them, the look in their eyes when they're happy, the look at their face when they come back home, the look at whatever, but these very specific, mundane, beautiful details that if you could never see them again, you'd miss them the most because they're the most repeated. That's a love letter idea. If you have a poet or a poem you want me to turn into a love letter idea, leave it in the comments. If you want me to write a love letter about your situation, leave it in the comments. I will stitch it. It will be public, but it will be free. Oh my god, I've said this so many times. I'm like, da, da, da. This is like when people in the medicine commercials and they're like, all of the side effects of this. Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. Friedrich Nietzsche. Love letter idea for that poem would be all of the things that they do that make no sense without context. Go check out my poetry book. If you have a poet or a poem you want me to turn into a love letter idea, let me know. I also write love letter ideas. If you write it in the comments, I can write you one and you can screenshot it. It will be a public video, the stitch, but it's free. I do not suffer from insanity. I enjoy every minute of it. So, love letter idea from that would be all the things that you guys do together that are weird and insane and unconventional, but you have the best time. If you're not someone that does anything insane or weird, get help. No, I'm joking. But then check out all the other love letter ideas. Also, if you want me to write a love letter about your situation, leave it in the comments. I'll stitch it and I'll leave at the end of the video the love letter so you can screenshot it and print it. I have a poetry book, go check it out. And I also have a journal, YouTube, and a podcast. So many things that I just run out of breath even saying. Great mind, nothing is little. Not from a poem, but it's from Sherlock Holmes, and I'm gonna tell you how to turn that into a love letter. The love letter idea is that to great love, nothing is little. So picking up on the little things again. But I want you to get even smaller. I want you to get so ridiculously specific. How much sugar do they like in their coffee? Specific. Okay. And these kind of things. Like, ridiculously specific. Okay, go check out my poetry book. On my YouTube and my Spotify, if you want me to write a love letter about your situation, leave it in the comments. I shall stitch it. It will be public, but it will be free. And follow along here. Thank you for watching, and tune in tomorrow. Never love anybody who treats you like you're ordinary. From Oscar Wilde. How do we turn that into a love letter? How are they not ordinary? How are they not average? How are they not like anyone you've ever met? I'm gonna explain it. If you're very, like, not emotional, you could just make it a list But if you make it into a beautiful letter, I think that is nicer. I also think a good idea in general with the love letters is to not title it their name, but to title it their nickname, if you have a nickname for them. Yeah. Check out my poetry book. If you want me to write the love letter for you and your person, leave it in the comments and I shall stitch it, and you can take a screenshot of the stitch. I'll leave like the actual letter itself at the end, and yeah, follow along here. I have YouTube, I have Spotify, go check out all of these things. We are all broken, that's how the light gets in. Ernest Hemingway. This is the most poems I've ever read. Anyways, turning this into a love letter. In what ways are they not conventionally healthy, like broken, but in beautiful ways? Do not be like your childhood trauma, like please don't. But just in random ways. Do they have a bad sleep schedule? And what is the light of that? Is it their flexibility? Is it the fact that you can go out any night of the week? What is the beauty in their unhealthy traits that are not like drug addiction or trauma? Okay, please, this is supposed to be a love letter, not like like a resume of their bad traits. Yes, go check out my poetry book. I also have a podcast and a YouTube. Follow along here. If you want me to write your love letter about you and your person, write it in the comments and I shall stitch it, and then at the end you can screenshot it. And yeah. In art, there's only one thing that counts. The Things You Can't Explain by George Borg. Sorry for pronouncing any names wrong. How do we turn this into a love letter? Explain the things you can't explain. Like, your laugh lights up a part of my heart I didn't even know I had access to. And I don't know why, or these kind of things. Check out my poetry book, my podcast, my YouTube, and if you want me to write the love letter for you, leave your situation in the comments and I can write it, and then it will be public because I will stitch the comment, but it will be free. Love is giving someone the power to destroy you and trusting they won't use it. This is only a love letter idea for very specific people, but how could they destroy you? What would happen if they left? And you have to paint it almost as a positive of their impact, not as a negative of your character, if that makes sense. If you check out my poetry book, YouTube, TikTok, this is on TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify, and if you want me to write the love letter for your situation, leave it in the comments, and I shall stitch it. It will be public, but it will be free. The beginning of love is to let those we love be perfectly themselves and not to twist them to fit our image. Otherwise, we love only the reflection of ourselves we find in them. What is something you love about them that is the complete opposite of yourself? Write about that. That's a good love letter idea. If you want me to write the love letter about your situation, leave it in the comments. I shall stitch it. It shall be public, but it shall be free. And check out my book, my poetry book, my YouTube and my Spotify, and follow along here. Normality is a paved road. It is comfortable to walk, but no flowers grow. Vincent van Gogh. What flowers have you put in and you're watering now? What have you started with them? What projects, what thoughts, what improvements that you're both building? Yeah, that's a love letter idea. If you want me to write the love letter about your situation, leave it in the comments. I'll stitch it. It shall be public, but it shall be free. Go check out my poetry book, my podcast, and my YouTube. Okay, so I made this like almost a year ago, and it bears repeating. So the next clip is going to be all of the love letter do's and don'ts. Enjoy. I hope this was a fun ride. Okay, for part 6 of how to write a love letter, I'm going to get ready for dinner. And because I'm in a hotel, and I love, oh, okay, I have to show you this. I'm obsessed with this. It's a makeup mirror. And so I will get ready and ask you a lot of rapid fire questions. And like, if you want to kind of do something like write quite a bit of love letters, like for a birthday, if they're turning 20 and it's like 20 love letters or something like that, this can definitely help move that along if that's like something you want to do. I'm also horrible at makeup, so let's hope this goes good. Let's see, what do we start with? What is something that everybody hates about either you or them that you you appreciate about each other? Like, for example, like everyone finds your laugh really, really weird, or your like even your best traits aren't always super flattering. Does that make sense? Like, maybe you're a little very, very like ambitious, and it comes off as like mean is not the right word. I'm gonna look like a clown. But yeah, or yeah. So anything that's like kind of underappreciated about either you or the person you're writing about the love letter about, like completely misunderstood or underappreciated, and then explaining why you understand them and why you appreciate that so much about them, or why you appreciate so much that they appreciate that about you. I think that's kind of really cool. This is gonna look really weird. I really wish I could attach the phone to the makeup light, but I can't, so this is what we're dealing with. What else? Number 3 is something about them. I wrote a poem about this in my book also, and it's also written quite a bit about that concept, but something about them that you've missed your whole life. But like, even before you had their name or their height or like something physical that's like cool about them or whatever else. And this is the way you would put it. Like, you say, oh my god, and you describe all of like the physical attributes, and then like, oh, that's nice, kind of superficial but nice. And then you go in for the kill and you're like, but what I've been waiting for all my life, even before I knew your face or fill in the blank, was you and your heart, or your laughter, or having someone who I can always rely on, or feeling this type of safe that I've never felt with anyone before. Like, the feeling that you've been searching for without them, like just in general, like you've wanted your whole life, and then that you found that with them, and that how special that is. Also, they should be honest. Like, don't make up stuff. I feel like that's super obvious, but it's the internet, so I want to be very clear. Don't make this stuff up. Don't like make a mountain out of a molehill, make a molehill out of a mountain. Also, this makeup looks catastrophic. Like, don't lie. Like, this is like, yeah. Anyways, so that's something I also think is really, really cute. When you're like, I've always wanted someone who did this or who was like that, and then to find it in this really cool, cute, sweet package is really, really nice. What else? Maybe all the things you appreciate that they're bad at. Oh yes, this is a good one. So for example, for me, I'm a really bad liar. Partially because I'm lazy, to be fair, and partially because I don't see the sense in lying. Of course, like, you lie about small stuff like privacy. But like, for the most part, I'm a really bad liar, and because I'm so bad at it, I'm not gonna do it often. And so I'm trying to remove all the excess makeup that I put on. Just because you buy Charlotte Tilbury, which I did, does not mean it works out. What was the same? Yeah, and someone could be like, I'm so happy that you're like so bad at lying, because it makes having conversations with you so much easier, and I always get to know what you're really thinking really quickly, and like, that's something I've always missed.
or like something like that. Like you can write a love letter about all the things they're bad at. Make it cute things. Don't be like, I love that you're bad at math. It's like, I don't know if that's super adorable, but things that like either society finds like cool but is actually kind of not nice, and you're like, I'm so glad you don't like that. You're really bad at that. And explain why. What else? What else? This is like part part 6 to 10. I don't know what I would call this, but what else could you write about? I also think that love letters need to be kind of time appropriate, in the sense of, don't imagine your whole life. Okay, we did 6 minutes of do's, now let's do don'ts. This is fun because I'm getting ready. Don't write your entire life and that you can imagine them in like your entire life and how you're planning so much ahead, if you know them very shortly. I think that's something. I think that's something that kind of, if I had to give a don't for love letters, that would be one of them, because like your future and where you see it going and all of that kind of stuff is for conversations. It's not for letters, and letters are kind of like speeches, and you can't put everything in a speech because some things need to be a debate and a discussion before they're anything else. Yeah, I think there's never a too soon time to write a love letter. I just think the future should be kept out of it unless it's like the way you want to propose. Then okay, that's really cute. Okay, it's cut off for a second. Or unless it's like a really, really, really long relationship. But yeah, also, another don't is don't lie in love letters. Like, don't oversell something you're actually not that into. Like, I think what makes, I haven't written a love letter, but I've written poems and I've written letters to people who I appreciate. And I think what makes my letters good is that I'm not lying. I'm not like for example, like if someone is not positive, not bringing up that they're positive at all. Like I will bring up all of the other things that I find so amazing and that I cherish about them so much. I'm not bringing up the fact that they're positive because they're not. And I think what, like, you can maybe get carried away and be like, oh, I like this, and you're like, oh, actually do I like this? First of all, it's like positive reinforcement for things you maybe actually really don't like, or it's really, really not true, and then like, because they don't do that, and then the whole love letter feels off. I think it's better to be a little bit more critical and like complex in your love letters than to be overly like positive and happy. Sounds contradicting, but because it feels more authentic, and it feels for the most part, especially if you've already said like you're in love and whatever else, like love is like being seen. I mean, it's tons of other things too. I'm going to end up looking like a clown and have to lower that down again, but like there's tons of things that make people feel loved, definitely. But I think a universal one is like being seen and like feeling seen. And you achieve exactly the opposite if you're like overly like excited about things you're not excited about. And if you want to bring something up you're not excited about, then be honest about it and be like, I think I mentioned it in my other ones, like be more complex about it and be like, I even appreciate the parts I don't like about you because it's taught me acceptance, but even more. And so, but yeah, I can definitely do this more like a do's and don'ts for love letters as well. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna call this.